Sarah, Jack, Emily, Alex, and Ryan had been inseparable friends during their time at the university, each pursuing their dreams in different fields. But 1 year ago, they all mysteriously vanished. Despite relentless efforts by the police and frantic searches by their families, no trace of them was ever found. It was as if they had simply ceased to exist. The university dormitory, once filled with the laughter and chatter of these five friends, had grown eerily quiet after their disappearance. Their rooms were left untouched for months, but eventually the administration decided to move on. With the new academic year approaching, their rooms were assigned to incoming students. The new residents of the dormitory were five bright students who had all been accepted into the prestigious medical school. Each of them was filled with excitement and anticipation, ready to embark on their journey to becoming doctors. But as they traveled to the university with their families, none of them could shake the feeling that something was amiss. Ethan had always been a logical thinker, someone who approached life with a scientific mind. He was thrilled to have been. His parents were equally proud, and they all set off together to move him into his dormitory. The drive to the university was supposed to be straightforward. They had mapped out the route and planned to arrive before dusk, but as they ventured further away from the city and into the more remote areas, the sky darkened unexpectedly. Thick clouds rolled in, and the once clear road was now obscured by a creeping fog. Ethan's father, who was driving, furrowed his brow as the GPS signal flickered and then disappeared entirely. "Looks like we're on our own now," he said with a nervous chuckle, trying to lighten the mood. His mother, sitting in the passenger seat, glanced out the window at the dense trees that seemed to close in on them. "This place is giving me the creeps," she admitted, her voice tinged with unease. Ethan, sitting in the back seat, tried to reassure them. "It's just the weather, we'll be there soon." But as they continued down the road, an unsettling feeling began to grow in Ethan's gut. The trees lining the road seemed to twist and loom over them, their branches reaching out like skeletal hands. The car's headlights barely pierced through the fog, and the atmosphere inside the car grew tense. Suddenly, the car jolted as if it had hit something, and the engine sputtered before dying completely. "What the hell?" Ethan's father muttered as he tried to restart the engine, but it was no use. The car was dead. Ethan and his parents exchanged worried glances. "Maybe we should check the engine," Ethan suggested, though he wasn't sure if he wanted to step out into the thickening fog. Reluctantly, his father agreed and got out of the car, popping the hood. Ethan followed, not wanting his dad to be out there alone. The air outside was cold, much colder than it should have been for late summer, and there was an unnatural stillness in the air. No birds, no insects, just silence. As they examined the engine, a strange sound broke the silence, a soft, rhythmic rustling, as if something was moving through the leaves nearby. Ethan froze, his heart pounding in his chest. "Dad, did you hear that?" Before his father could respond, the rustling grew louder, and a shadowy figure emerged from the fog. It was a tall, indistinct shape, draped in darkness, its features impossible to discern. But what struck Ethan the most were its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light, like embers in a dying fire. "Get back in the car," Ethan's father whispered urgently, his voice barely above a breath. They both hurried back to the car, slamming the door shut just as the figure drew closer. Inside, Ethan's mother looked at them with wide, frightened eyes. "What was that?" "I don't know," Ethan's father replied, frantically turning the key in the ignition, praying for the engine to start. The figure was now just outside the car, its face pressed against the glass. Ethan could feel the cold radiating from it, seeping into the car like a creeping chill. And then, without warning, the car roared to life. Ethan's father didn't hesitate. He slammed his foot on the gas pedal, and the car sped away, leaving the fog and the figure behind. They didn't speak for the rest of the drive, each of them too shaken by what they had seen. When they finally arrived at the dormitory, the sky was clear again, and everything seemed normal. But Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped something sinister. As he unpacked his belongings in his new room, Ethan glanced out the window, half expecting to see the shadowy figure lurking in the trees. But there was nothing there. Still, the unease lingered, a dark cloud hanging over him. Ethan knew one thing for sure: this was just the beginning. The strange and terrifying events that had started on the road were far from over. And as he settled into his new life at the dormitory, he couldn't help but wonder if the disappearance of the previous residents was somehow connected to what he had encountered.